Welcome to the MLG Spring Championship Kespa qualifiers. This is the finals in Group A between Stats and Ty. The winner of this match will advance and go to the MLG Spring Championship not qualifiers, because this is the qualifiers here, but they will move on to the tournament. That's going to be June 20th through the 30th. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce our players here. In the bottom right, we have the red Terran player. His name is Ty.
And his opponent on the left top position, which has been shown earlier in the game, his name is Stats from KT Roaster.
Don't worry, you guys will get to see that top left position shortly in the future. Don't worry, it's there.
Now, of course, MLG Spring Championship is held at Anaheim.
That's right.
And this is a great chance for Kespa players to travel overseas and play in a foreign tournament.
Fun fact, the Blizzard headquarters is in Anaheim. I got to visit there a few years ago.
Stop showing off.
Well, I'm not trying to show off, but I'm just trying to make you jealous, and it's working. I got a full tour of the Blizzard headquarters, thanks to my friend Thunder Toss and some friends at Blizzard.
I got a full tour of Google, but it doesn't matter because Google does not invest into esports.
They did have an after-hours Starcraft team, if I recall.
Well, as in, like, you know, as much as some other companies out
I'm
there.
waiting for the Google WCS-NA tournament there for them to sponsor that. How sick would that be?
Well, let's talk about this game a little bit more because we have an interesting build coming from Ty as he goes gas first.
It looks like the more aggressive he's been throughout the series, the more successful he's been. So I think Ty has decided to put 2-2 together, and he wants to go for the refinery first, followed by the barracks, so he can either use this to get fast Reapers out, or he could go for a very fast factory.
The problem is his opponent is spawning at the diagonal position, not the close spawning position. So even if he goes for the drops, it's going to take a long time before the medevac arrives inside the main base of his opponent.
Yep, and we do see the factory being constructed here by Ty, so of course it's going to be very aggressive earlier on in the game. And one thing to point out that's really important, all of the drops from Ty that have been unsuccessful have involved Widow Mines, Marines, Marauders, but the Hellbat drops are the ones that have really been successful and done the critical damage they needed to in the early to mid-game stages to allow them to obtain a victory.
So it really depends on what Ty decides to go for today. Did he learn from his mistakes from Game 1, and did he learn that his Hellbats were doing a lot of damage in Game number 2? For now, Stats, his opponent is going to take a Nexus fairly standard build, especially on this map.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, you got to get the expansion down pretty early on a map like Whirlwind. It's just too big to not take advantage of that fact. And
you don't need to get a Stalker or Zealot out early in the game unless you're expecting some kind of weird map hack engineering bay at the Natural.
All right, well, we do have a starport on the way from Ty here, so he's going to use the medevacs to boost his units across the map. Widow Mines in production. Marines also moving across the map to Ty's base. We do have the Militia Corps out, of course, for Stats, and he is building a Stalker behind this. Warp Gate, about 40% done. Will we see additional gateways here, or that robotics/forge style that's so very common with Protoss nowadays?
Well, it really depends on what Stats expects, because he saw Game number 2, his opponent went for a really aggressive play and he made it work. So Stats, if he's learning from his mistakes, he should know by now that throwing down cannons at the main base in the Natural is going to be not going to be an option, but you know, he has to do it.
A necessity.
Necessity at this point. But Robo does go down right now, which means that Stassi is going to have some vision inside the main base once the medevac arrives with the Observer, and he is going to follow up with the Forge pretty soon. But hold on a second, we do have a fast Twilight Council.
This is a very greedy build from Stats here. He is investing in a lot of different tech here, and unfortunately for Stats, Ty is going full out on the offensive here. He's not built a expansion yet.
Well, it's still okay right now because he still has a Nexus cannon inside the main base. There's still up to 2 Stalkers, so he can defend against the initial wave of attacks from his opponent. The problem is, how aggressive is Ty going to be, and what is Stats going to follow up behind the Twilight Council?
Oh, okay, so it looks like Ty, he is getting a command center at that Natural, grabbing the Armory so he can eventually drop harass with the Hellbats, but he is still going to move across the map with a good amount of units here. Moving forward now with the Marines, and a drop at the same time is going to go to the Natural.
And at the same time, Stats is going to go for the blink, which means that, well, you stayed aggressive in game number 1. I'm going to stay aggressive in game number 1 2. I'm going to stay aggressive in game number 3 as I go for my own blink.
Yeah, but once again, Stats does an excellent job at defending against the harassment here.
Yeah.
Doesn't lose a single probe this time. He's making a pylon here. Stats, he's getting blink right now. Do you think he's going to be going for a blink timing attack here?
I think so, and it's actually fantastic for him to do so because remember, all the Marines that were out on the field, it got picked off right away.
Probes, though, they're getting picked off here. They're lined up. That's not what Stats wants right now, losing a lot of probes here. The Hellion Harass being very successful compared to the Widow Mines. They're killing up to 6 workers. But at the same time, it looks like we have a lot of Stalkers in production here. Siege Tank on the way, but the Stalkers moving towards the natural here.
Like I said, all the Marines were picked off earlier in the game, which means no units inside the bunker, and those Marines cannot walk down the ramp right now unless the Siege Tank is already, the Siege Tank is sieged up on top of the ramp.
Yep, so Tai doing really a very smart job by building a Siege Tank here. The Widow Mine is going to be very annoying at that natural. The Stalkers, oh, they're getting surrounded, and they're not going to be able to blink out, though. And a few of them will end up falling here, but Stats still going to keep the aggression on. It's becoming a very gritty game between these players. It's going to come down to who can stabilize here, who can deal the most amount of economic damage. Right now, Stats is ahead in the worker count, 27 to 25, and he will defend against these Widow Mine drops.
And Whiplash, here's the difference. Right now, Stats, he's on 2 base economy, and the unit that Tai has over here right now, Widow Mine cannot take out the Nexus. All he can do is get some probes here and there, but Stats is already defending against it. Stats' own Blink Stalkers at the natural of Tai, however, is going to delay the command center from landing once again.
Yep, and the Nexus Cannon will... very nice job there, and he's going to be able to pick off the Widow Mine, so aggression from Tai has ended.
Aggression from Tai has ended, and Stats also denying the natural command center for a long time. DT follow-up behind this.
This could be really, really scary for Tai here. Getting the engineering bay is not going to be on Tai's mind here. He's focused on the Blink Stalkers and defending against those, so he's going to build up a lot of tanks and bunkers.
And he's going to dump a lot of energy into Mules right now, given the fact that he's been delayed for the mining time at the natural for such a long time, so he's not going to have any energy for scans against the DTs.
Yeah. So as long as Tai gets he is getting an engineering bay now, so as long as he gets a turret up, he'll be fine. But if he doesn't get a turret up, then the DTs could end up doing a very significant amount of damage.
And here's the biggest problem: how fast is Tai's reaction? Because here's what Stats wants to do right now. He could take out the Marines, he could ignore the bunker and then blink inside the main base. The key point, however, for Tai's defense is the siege tanks. Can he take out every single siege tank with the DTs before Tai realizes what's going on?
Well, we do have a War Prism on the way from Stats here, so I have a feeling that we may see a DT drop, actually, from... Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be the DT drop.
And this is going to be a lot better because he can take out the siege tanks a lot faster.
He can also deal a significant amount of economic damage. Looking at from Tai's side, he does have the +1 attack starting here. The DT is moving into the main base. There are no missile turrets. The mules have just dropped here, and this turret in the natural is going to get picked off easily. And now the economy for Tai, it's going to just start to crumble to these DTs here. This is pretty much a worst-case scenario for the Terran player here, and also the Stalkers attacking at the main base. Pretty much the economy here for Tai is on a standstill now.
Yeah, without the siege tanks, there's no way that Tai can defend against the Stalkers, and GG!
Tai decides that he's just too far behind and cannot deal with the harassment and eventual follow-up from Stats. So Stats, he defeats Tai 2-1, and he will advance from Group A and attend the MLG Spring Championship this June 28th through 30th.